Cameroon's economic capital. Begin today's edition of Prime News in the Central Region, where the Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Massenagalé-Bibehe, led a delegation to the scene of the tragedy in Nanga Eboko yesterday evening, where 2 black boxes were recovered to facilitate the investigation process. Joy Ngong completes the story.
These are the remains of the aircraft which crashed on Wednesday, May 11th in a small village called Ebula in the Bibe subdivision, Upper Sanaga division of the Central Region, causing the death of 11 CODCO employees on board. Cameroon's Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Massenagalé-Bibehe, who led the delegation to the scene of the crash yesterday, announced the opening of investigations geared towards establishing the causes of the plane crash following the recovery of the 2 black boxes. In civil aviation, there are 3 stages of investigation. Firstly, the administrative investigation already launched by the local administrative authorities, led by the senior divisional officer under the supervision of the Central Regional Governor. Next, the preliminary investigation, which will be carried out by the civil aviation authorities here present. They will get all first-hand information with all the necessary equipment. Thanks to the intervention of experts, we were able to recover the 2 black boxes, which will clarify the immediate causes of the accident. The inhabitants of the subdivision played a great role as guides in the thick forest, finding the crash site, given that it is the first incident of its kind in the locality.
On a vu ce coup ici à 14 heures, à peine qu'on était au niveau de Bébé à Mimanga. Bon, nous sommes revenus.
We heard the loud noises at about 2 p.m. when we were around Bibe. There was a lot of smoke, and today we tried our best to find it, and we finally discovered where it was. The noise wasn't a good one.
Pas bonne, et c'est pour cela qu'il fait ensuite qu'on a découvert la zone.
Minister Jean-Ernest Massenagalé-Bibehe congratulated the mobilization of the forces of law and order and the local administrative authorities since the aircraft was declared missing. It usually takes days to recover a crash site. That is why we applaud the search team for finding the location and the passengers on board. We also appreciate the efforts of the forces of law and order who displaced themselves since last evening. We thank the administrative authorities for their exceptional work.
Nous voulons remercier les autorités administratives qui ont fourni un travail exceptionnel.
The mortal remains of the 11 victims were recovered by the rescue mission in the early hours of Thursday and transported to the Nanga Eboko mortuary.
In the Adamawa region, as part of measures to curb illegal occupation of land in the town of Gaundé, the senior divisional officer of Vina visited a graveyard that has been destroyed as residents transformed the site to a business place. Get details with Miriam Gaket.
The town of Gaundé has been prey to the destruction and profanation of graveyards. According to people living in the surroundings, this comes as a result of the random and haphazard sales of land. To this effect, the senior divisional officer of the VINA has expressed his remorse.
On ne peut pas permettre que les gens viennent profaner de manière ostentatoire les tombes comme ça là et on reste tranquille.
We cannot allow people to destroy tombs in such a manner. The population should tell us who sold the lands.
Au niveau des, il faut qu'on vérifie au niveau du cadastre.
It was the occasion to reiterate the need to respect the laws regarding the sales and occupation of lands, while emphasizing on the need to punish the perpetrators of such acts.
Le risque de profaner ces tombes que nous avons vues sur le site et que cela puisse répondre de leurs actes.
Our first move will be to get those responsible for such despicable acts and get them punished. And secondly, we will try as much as we can to protect this area.
Et délimiter cette zone importante sur l'encadrement, bien évidemment, de la mairie de la ville.
While most of the tombs are surprisingly empty, the senior divisional officer has suspended the occupation of lands in that vicinity.
Vous connaissez les limites exactes de ce cimetière?
You know the boundaries boundaries of the graveyard. We expect you to respect them strictly.
As of date, the culprits are yet to be known, but efforts to get hold of them are ongoing, assures the senior divisional officer.
Now, the Minister of Trade, Luke Magwambarga, at Tangana, in a circular addressed to heads of trade unions of bar operations in Cameroon, has said prices of brewery products will remain unchanged, promising serious sanctions on those who increase these prices. Katrina Kongwe tells us more.
Bar operators in Cameroon are threatening to increase prices of beer. Their intentions were made known in a communique addressed to the Minister of Trade, Luke Magwambarga, at Tangana recently through their trade union. In the communique, they complain of inability to meet their daily objective for over 3 months now. As they say, this is due to scarcity of brewery products from distributors who take advantage to sell products with a 1,000 francs increase on cost per crate. As they say, their new prices will be implemented from June 1st, 2022 at midnight. Luke Magwambarga, Minister of Trade, in response to the communique addressed to him by the Trade Union of Bar Operators in Cameroon, warned that disciplinary measures, including sanctions, would be meted on bar owners who will unscrupulously increase prices, and also he said the creation of shortages to increase costs is prohibited. The minister noted that, in subject to the procedure described, the prices of beer remains unchanged in Cameroon, and he will nevertheless take note with utmost seriousness of the double concern expressed in the case of scarcity in brewery products among distributors and the increase in prices by the latter in flagrant violation of the law. Necessary measures will be taken to remedy the situation.
The Northwest Regional Coordination Meeting and Regional Meeting for the Maintenance of Peace and Order has been held in Bamenda. The meeting, chaired by Governor Adolphe Lafrique, brought together all 7 divisional officers and other administrative heads, and Northwest correspondent Charles Kewa completes the story.
The Northwest Administrative Coordination Meeting, CCA, and the Regional Coordination Meeting for the Maintenance of Law and Order, CCO, took place at the Conference Hall of the Northwest Regional Delegation of Secondary Education, May 11, 2022, chaired by Northwest Governor Adolphe Lafrique, bringing the 7 SDOs of the region and other administrative authorities. The meeting was aimed to streamline measures to ensure the administrative authorities are well equipped to face the various situation witnessed in the region and take necessary measures to ensure a hate-free celebration of Cameroon's 50th anniversary, the National Day 20th May 2022, all over the Northwest region. During the CCA/CCO meeting in Camara working session, had 4 exposés from the Divisional Delegate of Public Health, Trade, Economic Planning and Regional Development, the Inspector General of Regional Service, and the Secretary General at the Northwest Governor's Office. Northwest Governor Adolphe Lafrique assured measures had been taken to step up security to ensure no incident is recorded as the region celebrates the National Day.
Initially mobilized behind the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, to celebrate with pomp and pageantry patriotism, the 50th anniversary of the United Republic, this coming 20th of May 2022 in the entire region.
The governor equally handed motorbikes to the SDOs. Disclosed, the head of state has provided the motorbikes to vigilante groups in the region to enable them fight insecurity. Award of medals to 4 persons, 2 gendarmerie officers and 2 civilians for hard work amongst was the mayor of Bamela 3 Council.
In this report, our Central Regional Correspondent Colette dwells on the challenges faced by youths in that part of the country, plus ways to ameliorate the situation. Her report.
Cameroonian youth is a strong resilience being plagued with an endless predicament, void of job opportunities in the majority, faced with unending lack, economic stagnation, outburst of pain, faced with limited opportunities where the old do not want to liquidate positions for the youth to put their know-how in practice. Going by statistics, 80% of youth in the country find it hard to afford a meal in a day. Healthcare stagnant, and the list goes on and on. Speaking to a youth, he dwells on this issue.
The biggest problem facing Cameroonian youth is the high rate of unemployment. The youth constitutes the highest population in Cameroon, and they are the most vulnerable, less privileged to the society. Many young people have become victims of negativity and unproductiveness because they are neither schooling nor engaging in economic activities. There is a common saying, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. This is the reality behind many young people getting into streets and involving themselves in robbery, drug abuse, violence. The lack of adequate youth employment has made the Cameroonian youth dangerous to the society, leaving them with no alternative but to engage in terrible acts that will give them money to support their bad habits.
However, in every dark tunnel there is light.
In order to eradicate or to reduce the high rate of unemployment amongst the youth, the government, NGOs, young youth organizations must help get the youth engaged in profitable activities such as educational programs, vocational and entrepreneurial skill training.
Youth are therefore encouraged to be optimistic, stay focused, grab every opportunity, and use it deliciously.
Now, the cost of living in Douala is imperatively too high, but to many, this is rather paving the way for job creation. They went down the streets of Douala and talked to a cafeteria owner. Report.
There's no food for a lazy man. Yes, it is true. Reason why, when it is the dawning of a brand new day as this, many begin hitting the highway to make ends meet. This is Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon, and on today's episode of our success story series, we talk with a cafeteria owner. She's called Ngangmo France Christelle, and now dates back her experience in this job and her driving factor. I run a cafeteria for a living. As you can see, I'm already on duty. I'm preparing a cup of tea for my clients. I decided to take on this job to conquer idleness, because I realized sitting back home doing nothing only brings me a lot of stress, and so far this job has been paying off big time. Though pregnant, Christelle is able to manage all services demanded of her job, from the frying of the spaghetti to serving of the clients and then washing of the dishes. But this could be challenging sometimes, says Christelle. Truth be told, I'm in dire need of persons who can be of help to see that this business grows further, because it's not easy for me, especially in my condition. Barely 3 months into this job, Christelle is ever more poised for continuation, but not without a word of motivation for her mates. My advice to those who sit at home idling is that they must endeavor to work hard, because it is not by staying at home that you get your daily bread. So I advise them to go out there and work. This is my 4th month, but I can tell you the experience is worth it. Though I have to be here at 6 a.m. every morning, I know that I leave at 1 p.m., permitting me to do other things. Talking off camera, Christelle adheres, making it in life doesn't necessarily warrant everyone to be an owner of a white-collar job. But like it has proven over time, any legit business would always produce positive returns. As at now, her biggest clients remain the bike riders, early risers, and any other person of general interest who may choose to stop by. And this is what she calls hard work.
The Lingande reports in the another workshop to boost the cotton sector in Cameroon has ended in Yaoundé. This workshop brought together some German bodies and Cameroonian task force. Our Central Regional Correspondent Colette Lung once again.
More than 2 million people in Cameroon depend on cotton for their livelihood, and this sector accounts for 475,000 direct jobs in the country. However, the sector, just like every other sector in Cameroon, is witnessing drawbacks. The cotton sector, whose activities are predominantly carried out in the 3 northern regions of Cameroon, is particularly affected by poverty and insecurity, coupled with the devastating effects of climate change. It is against this backdrop that a task force has been formed with the goal of improving upon its productivity emanating from cotton crisis in the country in a profitable sector.
Producer, don't apply the good practices. All the value chain will fall. That is why stakeholders may be put together so that they can validate the term of reference.
The task force under the auspices of the Cameroon-German Corporation is supported by the Global Project, Sustainability and Value Added in Agricultural Supply Chains.
Will be the base for development, transformation of cotton for textiles.
This multi-stakeholder partnership was launched in November 2021, and there is therefore hope that it will go a long way to improve on the economy of Cameroon, especially at a moment when Cameroon and the world is facing a lot of economic crises, especially with inflation.
In the southwest region, over 300 persons have been screened for cardiovascular diseases in Buea and Limbe by the medical team of Fondation Cœur and Prudence Foundation. The foundation equally donated some medical kits to the Buea Regional Hospital. Emanuela C. completes the story.
Helping the population make the most out of life by making their healthcare affordable and accessible while protecting their wealth, growing their assets, and giving them the best ways to save in order to achieve their goals. The Prudence Foundation and the Fondation Cœur have joined forces together to conduct an awareness campaign and free screening for cardiovascular diseases for patients at risk of COVID-19 in Buea and Limbe. Arriving at both the Buea and Limbe regional hospitals, the population was already present to get themselves consulted and screened for cardiovascular diseases. While taking the height, weight, and blood types of the different patients, each tent was quite busy with nurses attending to the population that was lined up ready to be consulted, tested, and screened. As the medical practitioners chat and laugh, Dr. Mukake Martin, director of the Buea Regional Hospital, received the medical materials made up of machines, hand wash, sanitizers, and a host of other items with a smile on his face and a word of thanks to the foundations.
So, to know exactly that the hospital has been somehow enriched again with instruments. We have good doctors, wonderful specialists.
He is the head of the marketing and communication department of the Prudence Foundation. He told the press what the foundation is all about.
Prudence Foundation, by the way, is the charitable arm of Prudential, and it's focused on helping the community improve on health and security of every member of the community.
With a target to reach over 3.5 million people from 8 hospitals in 4 regions of Cameroon, these 2 foundations are committed to protect lives from COVID-19.
Cameroon's First Lady, Madame Chantabia, alongside staff of the Gynecological Endoscopic Surgery and Human Reproductive Teaching Hospital, Crasher, have celebrated God's gift of life with families of 300 babies born through assisted reproductive technology. This was during a Thanksgiving Mass at the Yaoundé Bay Center, May 12, 2022. Emanuela Moni completes the story.
The Metropolitan Archbishop of Yaoundé, His Grace Jean Barga, commended the presidential couple for their firm commitment aimed at putting a smile on the faces of many who now enjoy God's grace of parenthood as he blessed them. Professor Jean-Marie Kezia, Director General of CRASE, in a welcome speech acknowledged the unceasing support received from the presidential couple since the inception of the gigantic project that has wiped the tears of many parents who were once suffering from the fangs of infertility. He announced that the medical team of CRASE has as target the delivery of 500 babies by 2025. Mrs. Chantal Biya shared a moment with the children at the end of the religious service and distributed multiple gifts. She also made a tour of the hospital center with guests before her departure. Worthy of note is the fact that on May 6, 2021, a ceremony to mark the institution's 5th anniversary was organized at the hospital. Exactly 5 years after its creation, were 5 children who represented the 256 children born at the hospital, and their moms attended the event, as well as board of directors and health personnel.
And the 6th edition of the Islamic Solidarity Games will be held in Cameroon in 2025. The competition aims at strengthening Islamic togetherness and reinforce the values of Islam. Get details with Mwanzi Joyogo.
The Islamic Solidarity Games is a multinational, multi-sports event in which elite athletes of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation compete one another. The games were initially created to strengthen Islamic togetherness and reinforce the values of Islam primarily to the youths. Cameroon will host the 6th edition of these games, which will hold from May 9th to May 13th in the year 2025. According to Cameroon's Minister of Sports, Narcisse Moele Kombi, the country is determined to give out one of the best Islamic solidarity games ever, with the commitment of all actors involved. This competition has had 4 editions so far, and the 5th edition, which will take place this 2022, will be hosted by Turkey from August 9th to August 18th. To add, the first edition of this game was held in 2005 in Saudi Arabia, and there are currently 57 members of the Organization of the Islamic Conference. Furthermore, there are 28 sports which athletes will compete in, and these sports are table tennis, football, basketball, badminton, boxing, just to name a few. Cameroon have won a total of 11 medals so far during these competitions. Worth bearing in mind that the Inspection Committee of the Islamic Solidarity Sports Federation have evaluated sporting facilities in the country ahead of the 2025 Islamic Solidarity Games.
That report compiled for us by Mwanzi Joyogo ends the 6:30 p.m. edition of News on My Media Prime Television. Coming up just after the news is Prime Hour with Kum Leonard and Hasty. My name is Fon Quinter. Don't miss out on our weekend edition of News presented by Cynthia Azanu and Miguel Gaket. Have a blessed weekend in the company of more programs on The African Eye. Good night.